was dick, 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 round of the hand, dick, round.
We could have homes on separate coals, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the parents' lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the parents' lounge is the cure to staying sane. Welcome to another edition of the Parents Lounge. We're deep into the Christmas parental activities, so we got a lot to vent about. I'm Jamie Kaler, joined as always by Jason Gowin, and really the most important person in the whole group, Kate Mulligan's here, looking fantastic.
Thank you. Jason, where are you? And why does it look like a hotel?
Don't worry about where I'm at.
Did witness protection start already?
Look, you know my children. You knew that this day was coming. I have to put an IP blocker on this thing. Nobody's finding me now.
You're using a VPN? Great. Yeah. Good for you.
I couldn't think of the name. I was like, it's called something, but...
He's still with the black leather cap.
Oh, all right. I'm not doing this with you again.
No, you're not, but I guarantee Steve Lemmy's going to have a couple of words. Our guest
Why are you picking on me right out of the gate? I'm not doing this week with you. I've had a row.
Oh.
I've had a week.
You had a week, did you? All right.
Yeah.
Right. We'll talk about it.
And also, Joey likes that it's back.
Yeah.
Listen, you either like a leather hat or you don't, man. It's like a leather. I think we'll
There's a reason I'm in a hotel room, Kate.
Yeah, I guess so. Wow.
All right. Hey, thank you to everybody for tuning in. Every week it's like a struggle to get here. I'm like, Jason was here. My two kids were like screaming at me. I was shoveling them into bed to read. And then by the end of the show, I actually feel pretty good. It also has something to do probably with the fact that we pour cocktails here on this show. So make sure you go grab a drink.
Can I say, Kaler, for the first time ever, I'm sort of like, you always are like, my kids are still like, da-da-da. And I've always sort of been like, okay, well, someone will put them to bed. I've not understood the single parenting while trying to do the show until this week, where I've literally not had my husband, because of this job he has now, till about 9 o'clock every night.
Yep.
And that's good, because I know when you don't have your wife, it's because she's out of town. But my kids, I don't actually know what they're doing right now.
It's actually worse when she's here, because then I finish the show and I go in and they're all just hanging out, looking at pictures from when they were like 1
they're
years
safe.
Old.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, they have the alarm set so that I can hear if they go out the front door. That's all I ever say is like, I don't leave the house. That's really all I can do at this point.
That happened one time. The alarm went off while we were on the air, and you had to leave to check to see what happened to them.
Oh my God.
And by the way, just so you want the truth, Kate, your husband's not working till 9. He's working till 5. Right now, he's sitting in a bar in Glendale having a cocktail after work.
That would be great. Except for he's in. It's even worse than that. He's in the office, so he's so close, and I can hear him, but I cannot access him. Yeah, he's here.
Okay,
he's here. They're working until the new year. They're working on Zoom.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to follow, like, subscribe, and if you get a chance, if you're just listening to this on iTunes, which happens a lot because people can't, it's on both coasts. It's a 3-hour time delay. Try to watch us live. We're here every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. But if you do it on iTunes, write a review, subscribe, send some parental love because we could all use it. I want to bring our guest.
New this week, since we hit a certain threshold of viewers, we now, if you're on Facebook, you can send us little stars, which equal ka-chingle chingle, which can help us continue to fund this little dog and pony show.
That's true. That's true. Did you know that, Mulligan? Now we can get stars, I guess. Which is, I guess.
I don't know anything about Facebook. I'll be honest. So I'm like, that's great. I didn't know. I didn't know. Yeah, that's great.
It's great to get. I mean, it's a star. If it were like a little poop emoji, you'd be like, well, I don't want any of those. But it's stars, so you want to get as many. Yeah,
the exchange rate for poop emojis is a lot lower.
Yeah, yeah. Although I've gotten my fair share of poop emojis. And speaking of poop emojis, let's bring our guest in.
Poor Steve.
I knew as soon as he had said it, that was his segue.
That was the segue of poop emojis. Trust me, nobody's made a better living out of poop emojis than our guest today. You will know him from, of course, Super Troopers 1 and 2, and maybe 3 is coming, says IMDb. We'll talk about that a little bit. Club Dread, Beer Fest. He's part of Broken Lizard, and of course, he is the creator, writer, director, and star of a little show I love to perform on called Tacoma FD. Please welcome Steve Lemme.
Hey!
Hello. Jesus Christ. I'm sitting here. I'm dying to say. I'm bubbling with stuff to say.
I know you are. I know. That's why I love having you on, because I don't have to speak. I'm just going to sit back, have a drink, and just let you ridicule me.
You're in luck. This is when the guest gets to do a monologue. Hit it, Steve.
Okay, let's start with the fucking leather hat. Okay.
I told you.
It's not even like the leather hat. I was like, fine. Okay. It's a leather hat. He's made a choice, but the crease on it is intense as well. That's a big, and there's a seam.
It's a seam. It's
down
not so much a crease as the seam.
Dude, it's a leather baseball cap.
But he's saying the curvature is very concave. It's a
or convex.
Convex. It's one of the two, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Colgate guy on convex.
No. I bet she's right. What does the hat come with? That bill curve?
No, just weirdly, all of my hats end up with this shape. All of them sort of do this. I don't know. Something inherently about my head or my lifestyle leads to creased hats.
And then what? Do you have hair under that hat?
No, none.
So is your head sweating right now? What is it? Is this a
no? It's very cold here.
Such a good question, though. Leather doesn't breathe. It's such a good. I didn't even think
exact questions.
My head gets very cold, and so I keep the heat stored in there and it's a survival technique.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the story I'm going with.
Okay.
It feels like something the Gimp from Pulp Fiction would wear when he's not in full leather gear getting tortured.
I want to make a gay bar joke, but I feel like I can't.
I know.
You can.
I know.
It's a fine line to dance.
Steve, go walk rock, baby. Let's do it.
But that's okay. He likes leather. He's got leather chairs back there. He's a leather guy.
Yeah.
I love leather too.
Why
why is leather like? It's so funny. Did you watch the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony? Because Rob Halford, they got inducted. Judas Priest, aren't you? You're a Priest guy, aren't you?
I mean, I like their 3 songs.
Yeah, which are I feel the same way about Bon Jovi, but we'll talk about that.
Now, hold on a second. Bon Jovi's got a lot of fucking songs.
Yeah.
3, and they're basically the same chords mixed up in different patterns.
Are you kidding me?
No,
he means it.
I mean it dead serious. I like Bon Jovi. I like Bon Jovi.
I'm just going to name them off the top of my head.
Okay.
How
many? You want a minute?
Sure. Let's start from the beginning. Runaway.
Okay. It's like it could have easily been like a Sean Cassidy. It could have been the B-side too. I met her on a Monday and my heart stood still. Like, it's Runaway. I get it. I'll give it to you, but it's
okay. Fine. Slippery when wet. You've got You Give Love a Bad Name.
Number 1, You Give Love a Bad Name. Yeah.
Okay.
Great song.
Living on a Prayer.
Number 2.
Okay. Bad Medicine. Is that on that album?
It doesn't matter. It's
It does kind of matter.
It could have easily been a Motley Crue song, Bad Medicine. There's one more song they have. It's Wanted Dead or Alive. Those are the three. That's
Well, Wanted Dead or Alive is a great one. John Bon Jovi has a solo on Blaze of Glory, which is great. They've also got a couple of nice slow ones like Bed of Roses. You know you like that song.
I mean, I don't hate it. It's okay.
Always. And I will love you always. That's a good song.
Feels like a heart song, but it's fine.
Okay. They had another one that came out off of like see, now I have to go to the list. I have to go
But, to your point, it's more than 3, Kaler.
It's more than 3. It's
I don't know that we can prove that they're all different chords. I think Kaler may have you there.
He might have me there.
My favorite's the band Big Country. They came out with an album entitled Big Country, and their hit song was called Big Country. And then they never did anything else. That was it. It's like, you guys are really
blow your wad.
You're laser beamed in on that Big Country theme.
Talk did that too. They had a song called "All You Do to Me Is Talk."
Well, they also do "It's My Life." It's the one Gwen Stefani covered.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
That was Talk. I saw Talk open because I just played that song for my daughters, Talk, and they love the Gwen Stefani one. I said I have to play the original, so I played the Talk one because I saw them in 1981. The dude came out. I don't know if this was choreographed or whatever, but they were doing Talk, and he slipped, fell, smashed his head, and their set was over. They played like a song and a half, which is really all they have anyway. And then Psych First came out.
That's so tough. We had a guy open for us who was, I'll just say he was a little overweight. And he came jumping up onto the stage to open up the set, and his toe slipped on the stairs, and he smacked his shin bone on the stairs and face planted. And that was like a good 45-minute delay for the show. I felt bad. I don't make a laugh.
He was your opener?
He was our opener. Yeah. I felt bad for him. Here you go. I'll be there for you. That's another, I'll be there for you. Those 4 words. Here's another one. I knew there was another one, an early one. Born to Be My Baby. Are you telling me you don't like Born to Be My Baby?
Born to be my baby. And baby, I was born to be your man.
Come on. That's a great song. Okay. Keep the Faith. That's a good song. Lay Your Hands on Me. Come on, dude.
So are you saying in the Jersey lexicon,
In and Out of Love?
Springsteen. Like Springsteen.
In and Out of Love?
But you're not saying they're even anywhere near Springsteen, are you?
I think that's a lazy comparison, Jamie. It's a New Jersey comparison. It's a New Jersey comparison.
Well, that's the comparison they get all the time. They go,
no. You compare John Cougar Mellencamp and Bob Seger to Bruce Springsteen.
Yes.
Bon Jovi is like
he's right.
It's your show. I don't want to come on here and tell you how to do your business, but
no, please do. Kate and I give full permission for you to do so.
The point was,
I don't know what your rate is, but we'll pay it. Okay.
The point was, Rob Halford really that look of studded leather came from Judas Priest and became the heavy metal go-to, right? Even though it really. Here's what happened. So when I was younger, I was a huge Depeche Mode fan, and my buddies were Priest fans, and they would say derogatory terms about Dave Gahan being gay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because at the time nobody knew, but you saw the black leather gear on Rob Halford, and you're like, "What?" And it was kind of funny that Rob Halford is, of course, openly gay. And
in retrospect, clearly he is.
Yes.
If you're going by the marker of a black leather cap.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's so funny because it was on
Jason
recently.
Take his hat off and just throw it.
Do you ever watch Cruising?
I own it, Kate.
That because his hat. The second I saw Jason's hat, I was like, "Dude, are they redoing Cruising?" And I didn't get the memo, or what's happening there?
What's
Have you ever
Cruising?
seen
My
Cruising?
wife. This is my required attire.
Cruising is like there's a period of time in the late 70s where they got like their films were gritty film, like those Sidney Lumet films, those New York films.
Freakin', like a William Fried. Actually, that might have been Freakin'. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so it's an Al Pacino movie where he's a cop and he goes undercover into the gay community to investigate a series of murders in the gay community.
Yeah.
And this is back when, like, I grew up in New York City. There was gay panic was like a major thing.
Yeah.
For a long time. But that was like right smack in the beginning of gay panic, where it was like,
we lost a generation of men in New York in the 80s. I mean, there was a reason people were panicking, is because, are we not talking about the 80s?
We're talking about it. The 70s.
Well, I'm talking about the 80s, so get on board.
No, but you're talking about AIDS 80s.
Yeah.
Like this was like when homosexuality was starting to come out on the streets and like
You're just talking people. Okay.
and like my dad would be like my dad's from Argentina. He called them the queerdos. Those are the queerdos. Those are the queerdos. Look at the queerdos.
Yeah,
and
my father was similar.
And he was freaked out.
Father had an accent.
His father's from Argentina.
That's amazing.
Yes, my father did. No, he had.
Yay me. You see these queerdos.
Well, you know what's funny today, talking about kids and Christmas, is that Steve Lemme went to check out a middle school today.
Business or personal?
I didn't go.
Wait, that's a good joke, by the way. Business or personal?
Thank you.
I didn't even hear it.
Jason pops me in every now and then.
I heard it, but I didn't see it. If you want to talk parents, like I think it was like 5 years ago that I tried to read a kid's like the instructions on the medicine jar, and I couldn't read it. I woke up one morning. I was like, just must be because it's early in the morning. Mm-hmm. And then also I realized I couldn't see anymore. I couldn't read small print, and so now I have my readers. And Kaler, you and I have spoken about this a lot. I'm finding out that my eyesight is getting worse. Mm-hmm. And what it actually means is I can't process things as well as I normally can. So I heard Jason's joke, but because I couldn't see it, I didn't totally register it. And it's alarming to me now. Does anybody else?
Are you ever going to go do the contacts, man? I told you to do contacts.
I keep meaning to ask you. But like I walk around kind of in a haze. Like there are times where I'm like, I feel fucked up, but I'm not. Yeah. Because I can't see.
I did slip you something tonight, so it may actually be the roofie that I slipped you.
You gave me a virtual roofie?
I definitely didn't get into your house, so yes, it was a virtual roofie.
You know, Steve, that's a joke on my album Homeschooled about children's medicine.
Oh, really?
If they wanted people my age to have kids, they would have made the font on children's medicine much larger.
I know.
I'm sitting there 2:00 in the morning with glasses, a flashlight. I'm like, I can't even tell if it's in English.
The shampoo and conditioner bottle is the same thing too.
Yeah.
I'll sit there in the shower I've got it here. I've got it here. I'm squinting. I'm like, I cannot tell which is which. And I literally have to put it in my hand and get it going up here just to see if it's shampoo.
I, for a second, was like, how do you not know how to use shampoo and conditioner? But you're talking about the actual words shampoo or conditioner.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought we were still talking instructions.
I know what they're for. I know what they're for.
Numbers, they need to make two things that just go shampoo, conditioner. Because I'm the same, because I use my wife's. I've never bought shampoo or conditioner since I got married. I just use whatever's in there.
It's an amazing thing.
I guarantee you, Kaler, every time you use your wife's shampoo, that is a $42 hair wash.
Not even a question. And I
well,
use the whole thing.
My wife buys some cheap shit for me. Like she leaves out like the, it's like whatever the cheap stuff is, like the garden.
Pert Plus.
Sure. Yeah. Pert Plus. By the way, I like Pert. I like the way Pert smells. If there was Pert there, I'd be psyched about it.
There's the newest thing we're dealing with in our master bathroom. There's 2 towel racks. And what she's done is she bought like really nice towels, folded them perfectly, hung them, and covered the entire towel rack. And then I went to use it. She goes, "Oh, no, those are for show. You're not using them." No one, like, there's no schedule if anyone's coming to the house. So there's no usable towel racks in my bathroom because my wife has put decorative towels on them and they are not to be touched.
Yeah.
So I used one.
Okay, Kaler. So we just did an episode of Tacoma FD about that, where Kevin.
I wasn't in that one.
You weren't invited to participate. But here's another thing. When I said I was bubbling to talk to you, like we just locked your daughter's episode of Tacoma FD, and I spent all day watching footage of you, specifically the urine riff that you did. Do you remember the urine riff that you did?
How could I forget it? No one's ever going to forget the urine. Do you want to tell people the urine riff?
So to catch you guys up, like we do this scene where the firefighters show up and Jamie and his local police officers are there. They're 2 drunk guys that have pissed themselves. The short version is we wind up having to take them in the ambulance because Jamie gets them to complain of chest pain. So he doesn't have to put them in his police car. And Jamie was improvising a line that was, okay, guys, "You're in now. You're in now." And he loved the line so much that he literally did it on everybody's coverage from every possible camera angle, facing all different directions in every take. It doesn't matter what's happening. Here comes Kaler at the end. You're in now. Anyway, we joked about it. It sounds not as funny as it was on the day, which is fine, because we joked about it on set. But that's what I spent the day watching today.
Did it make the cut?
I'm just watching the footage right now.
It would be super funny if it just never made it. And the joke goes, I can't remember. How's the actual line? Because it goes, I can't even remember how it goes. You watched it all, right? And I said the exact same line. 100. And by the way, there were 4, 8, 10, like 12 people in the scene. Everybody had coverage. So wherever the camera was over whoever's shoulder, that's where I ended up.
Yeah, there were 11 people in the scene.
There were 11 people in the scene.
Honestly,
that's the problem with working on a show like that with your friends that you love doing, because I would never, oh my God, like on like Will and Grace or I would never, ever have done that.
It's funny because I was directing that episode, and I don't know if you remember, but like it was hot and our time was limited. And there were takes where like we weren't even getting to the scripted stuff. And I started saying, I was like, okay, guys, we're resetting back to the top. Let's just do the scripted lines. And then we come in, I say my first scripted line, and then everybody just fucking starting with you, Kaler, and then Rudnitsky, like nobody was, But I'm not complaining. My problem could be worse.
I love at least when I improvised, I was on camera. Rudnitsky would be improvising when he was off camera. And Party is like, dude, none of this is usable. You're not on camera. Stop doing that.
You're correct about that.
That was super funny.
So middle school before we got okay. So we were supposed to go look at a middle school today. Our older son is going to be in 6th grade next year. And I thought it was going to be at 5 o'clock today. Remember I was telling you I had to go.
Yeah.
I thought it was at 5 o'clock, which is what I told you. Yesterday I looked at the schedule and it said it was at noon. Now you already know my father's from Argentina. The Argentina semifinal World Cup.
I recorded it. I haven't watched it.
Okay, fine. I don't have to tell you the result, but I was like, oh fuck, this is a problem.
Yeah.
And I went in to talk to my wife, and I was like, because I started to investigate how to reschedule, and it was like, you can reschedule, but you won't get it until January.
Yeah.
And I was like, oof, that's tough. Let me just feel it out. And I went, and I was like, so we have a little conflict here. The soccer game was on, and she was like, it's just like a half an hour meeting. And I was like, it's going to be longer than that. She's like, it's your son's middle school. I was like, I know, but like you can reschedule it till January. And then all my friends, because my father is Carlos, he's from Argentina, as you know, he's homophobic too. I was like telling my friends from New York, I was like, what do I do? And they're like, dude, your father would not miss that game for you. There's nothing in your life that would have made him miss that game for you. Carlos would have watched the soccer game, and we respect the shit out of that man. So you got to figure it out. Anyway, as it turns out, so I went back to the site to see if there was an alternative, and I was looking at the address. First, I was like, how far away is this place? And it said it was a day away in Arizona. And then what I discovered was that my wife, in making the appointment, had accidentally found a school of the exact same name in Arizona and scheduled the appointment with them. And so I went back. You can imagine that I strutted back into and at first she didn't want to hear it. I was like, let me just tell you one more thing about this school, which you might want to check out. She was like, mm-hmm. And I was like, I think it's in Arizona. And she looked it up, and it was indeed in Arizona.
It feels very improbable to me that there are schools in Arizona that are hard to get into. Is that just me?
Throwing shade at Arizona, Mulligan.
Yeah, no, just very openly. Not even.
We
not
openly
even
apologize
shady.
to Arizona fans for kids.
No, Arizona people will agree with me.
That's Arizona.
To be fair, Steve, your son goes to school every year. The World Cup's only every 4 years. So
right.
I don't think it's even a competition. World Cup.
Yeah.
Did you keep the kids out of school to watch the game?
No, I thought about it. I thought about it because in my family, that's okay.
Is it worth watching, or was it one of those where it was it back and forth, or was everybody held on for the last? I doubt Croatia pushed forward too much. They were probably just buried backwards.
It's so worth watching. It's so worth watching.
Is the game good? All right.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best one of the season so far. Or the
Freddie B's up. You just want to say
Kate's
right.
too.
He gets accepted by opening.
Freddie B's, he's in Arizona actually.
I told you Arizona would agree with me.
So the school you thought you had an appointment with, you don't have that. Did she then call the school and say, "Hey, we're coming in January"?
No, she told them to fuck off. That's what we do to people who are nice to us.
It was the Arizona school that was the January date too, Kaler.
Yeah, we're not going to Arizona.
No, but didn't you have? She hasn't. What about the school she wanted you to go to?
Okay,
of the same name.
Yeah, but it doesn't have anything
to do with
January.
That was supposed to be today, but to reschedule it would have been January. But it was an accident. Like there is a school by the same name here in the Valley, and she just fucked up and accidentally contacted the Arizona school and got us an appointment for today. I did not reschedule for January though, because I don't think I'm going to move to Arizona.
No,
it's nice. No. If you like golf, it's a great place to golf, man.
By the way, I will say that Phoenix Middle School is a great school here, and I really understand why there was the confusion. So it's weird that it's here. Honestly,
there's a Louisville school here too, close to mine. Yeah,
Louisville's actually a really good high school.
I've heard that. Is it all girls?
It may be. That's one of the schools my kids are
banned from.
That would be one of the ones they're banned from. No, it's one of the Catholic schools, high schools that all the kids. The good thing about my kids' school is it's through 8. It's kindergarten through 8, which I love immediately, so I don't have to change schools.
Right.
Steve, how many kids do you have?
2 boys, age 8 and 11.
Oh, nice.
Tell them what my daughter did to your sons in the jacuzzi.
Wow. This is an opener.
Yeah, my sons and your daughters have some history, and it's good. I feel like my boys have the proper introduction to redheaded chicks from an early age.
Not even a question.
Because so not this July 4th, but the previous July 4th, I had a party, and my son Carlos, my older son, and Jamie's 2 daughters, and another girl named JoJo. JoJo.
Siwa, got it.
Yeah, they were in the hot tub together. So Carlos and these 3 girls, and Jamie's daughters were trying to get my son and JoJo to make out. And, yeah, and so then like a few weeks later, we were gonna invite the Kalers over again, and with their daughters specifically, and Carlos was like, "I don't want those girls to come over," and we were like, "Why not?" And he was like, they were trying to get me to make out with JoJo in the hot tub. And, in my mind, I'm like, bro, be cool here, bro. But, as a father, I support him. But yes, that's the first thing. But then they came over again and they got along well. And then my younger son acted in a scene in Tacoma FD this season with Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
In which the 2 of them are at a birthday party, and there's some porn protesters that we have to supervise. They're doing a porn burning, and so the fire department has to supervise those things, just a chaperone. And they accidentally blow it up, and all this porn goes flying into the park, into the kids' birthday party. And my son picks up a magazine, and he goes, "All right, tits." And then Hannah picks up a magazine and she goes, "All right, dick." And she did it, and she did it well. And the funny thing was that, for her audition tape, because Jamie actually made her try out for the part. She didn't, he told me like Richard Nixon is they call him Dick Nixon. So that's what it is. He didn't tell her what she would say.
Yeah.
So she didn't know what she was saying. And the CPS worker on set that day, because of the kids, came up to me and Theo was all over it. My younger son was all over it, like the tits, and he's like riffing. He's going, all right, boobs, and all right, titties. Like he's 8 years old. He was saying all those things. And I was like, it's, I'm sorry that he knows those words. He's got a big brother. And Jamie tells her, well, actually though, but my daughter doesn't know what she's saying. She just thinks she's talking about like Richard Nixon, like Dick Nixon. And the CPS girl, says, well, actually that was true until Steve's son told her what she said. So now she knows. So anyway,
How did she take that, Jamie? Did she discuss it with you after?
We never spoke about it. We're Irish Catholic. We don't discuss that kind of stuff whatsoever.
Fair.
We harbor it, hold it. We let it fester for a while, and then we let it kind of affect our life in a negative way over the next 15 to 20 years.
Feels right.
So,
yeah,
it feels about right.
That tracks.
Feels about right. She, we haven't talked about it, and we haven't really told anybody that she's in it yet. Because honestly, I'm a little worried when it airs. What of the feedback?
Well, the funny thing is that people do like last season. My older son was in an episode, and the very next day at school, a girl in his class came up to him and said, "I saw you on TV last night." And I guess her father and grandfather watched Tacoma FD, and she was in the room, and said, "That boy's in my class." But she came up to him and was like, "Oh yeah, I saw you on TV last night. That was really cool, And he came home and was like, "Dad, I really like being famous. It's cool." So
he's like, you think can we invite Brianna over to the hot tub, get those Kaler girls back here? Because
the redheads over and JoJo and show them my app.
I mean, they were cheering him on, so I mean, it's a good support to have.
Yeah. I agree. This is, I think, the reason why Kaler and I are going to remain friends for a long time. It's really, I'm investing in my son's future with those two redheaded girls because I actually think they're going to be good looking, Jamie. And I think it's, let me get Carlos in here. Let me see.
Want me to get Hannah in here? You want to see Hannah?
You keep saying Carlos, and I keep being like, how is Alice Rocky there? Because and then no, it's your son. Okay. Got it. Why is Carlos there?
Yeah. Well, you have a Carlos that you know?
Yeah.
You know Carlos Alazraqui from Reno 911? He comes on a lot. He's one of our buddies.
Carlos Alazraqui.
Yeah, he's James Garcia on that show, but he's a friend of this show. And it seems like you two would know each other.
He's friends of Jamie. FOJ.
Yeah.
FOJ. Do you know that we don't there's a huge thing between the Super Troopers guys and the Reno guys. That's there is a rift.
I can see that. Well, because you guys kind of stamped that territory, and that you were long before Reno 911. I feel like, weren't you?
We were. I don't even like talking about it. There's there's a couple of weird coincidences that I don't think are their fault, but we made a Super Troopers pilot. We wrote a pilot for Fox, and they were like, we don't want it to be in Vermont. This is before the movie, and they were like, your movie script takes place in Vermont. We don't want it to be in Vermont. Should we put it in California? And we were like, nah, well, that's chips. So we can't do that. And then we were like, what about Vegas? And then we were like, well, then you have to get all Vegas-y. And so we set our pilot in Reno. And then it didn't go, but it's all the same people that, literally the network, the producers, the agents who did it all. It's all the same thing. Now, I actually don't think that Tom Lennon and Ben
Grant. Yeah.
I don't think I believe it's possible that somebody said, hey, we were working on a thing that they said in Reno, which was pretty good. And I think that's totally fine and fair. But that has been this issue, I know internally with some guys that has been oh, they ripped us off. And I know that when I know we've done some interviews where it's the reporters start adding things and you actually read articles. I've read articles where I'm like, we didn't say that. And nobody said that. And that's actually pretty common.
This is a podcast that is going to go out. So
you okay, Jason?
At least you can't be misquoted.
Yes.
I don't want to get you into trouble, dude. We came on to talk about kids. I don't want to get any.
I know, but I'm like, ooh, this tea is hot.
Well, no, like I said, I don't think like I believe.
You want to hear? All right, I'm gonna get you off of the hook. We don't want to talk about that anymore. I'll tell you the biggest
100%
rip.
I do.
I go in many years ago. I had just moved to LA. I was doing they brought me in to host some VH1 show or something. And at the time I had a bunch of fake shows that were part of my act. I did a joke about. And so in the audition, they basically just had me do my act. Right. And so one of my jokes was, I said, I have this new show coming. It's called Hunt for Ted Nugent's Money. And it's set in a game reserve in upstate New York, and you hide some money. And then Ted Nugent hunts you with a bow and arrow. Just a joke or whatever. And so I do that. Not only do I not book the job, they make a show called Hunt for Ted Nugent's Money.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
To the point where I got lawyers involved. And I was like, hey. And I had me performing it at the Improv. And then and the lawyer basically said, he goes, look, if it ever took off and it made some money, it would be worth it, but it's not gonna. It didn't do great.
Yeah, you want to buy your
Nugent was hunting people in Michigan with a bow and arrow while there was money involved, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I came up with that idea.
Yeah,
that's wild.
I
auditioned for that.
As for the part of Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait. You were going to use the real Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
It was really Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent did it. It was his. Yeah, he
did do it.
He did. It was a show.
I don't know what's real anymore.
It was on not MTV, but the other one, VH1.
VH1. When I was a kid, I thought the album title "Intensities in 10 Cities" was the coolest album title I'd ever heard in my life. I thought it was so clever.
Is that a Ted Nugent album?
Yeah, it's a live album. Intensities in
10 cities.
I mean, Ted Nugent's got less songs than Bon Jovi. Like, let's just start with that.
Sorry. For real?
Count them off. Let me hear them. Not a Ted Nugent guy whatsoever.
1 minute go.
Wait. No, wait, hold on.
Cat Scratch Fever. Cat Scratch Fever.
This is what I mean. Wait, did you say he's got more songs than Bon Jovi, or he doesn't?
He's got less songs than Bon Jovi.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was trying to read something. This is what I'm talking about. I couldn't read it, and I started to focus on it, and then I missed that you said does not have as many. Let me just go back to the Reno 911 thing for a second. I like those guys, and I like Reno 911, and I like everybody involved with the show, and that's what I mean. It's like there's been like a thing. Look, it is a fact that we set our pilot in Reno. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think they came along and read that script and said, let's make a Reno show. I believe that somebody might have said we did have a project at one point that was set in Reno and it was pretty good. And so, but maybe even not, because, sometimes people will say things and not give credit. They're just like, oh, how about we set it in Reno?
Right. And they would have no idea.
Like, oh, that's a pretty good idea.
I will tell you, as far as comedic settings for anything, Reno's a pretty good one. Like, Reno's a good city.
I mean, it's no Tacoma.
Have you ever been to Reno?
Yes.
Have I been to Reno? Yes.
Biggest little city? Yeah.
I did stand up in Reno one time, and you're like, it's gorgeous. I think Reno is one of the most beautiful places.
I went to a different Reno.
Well, if you could get rid of the crystal meth and the gambling, it would be, it's gorgeous. The river comes right through it. The mountains are right there. It's beautiful. Right by Tahoe, it's close, and it's gorgeous. But then you're like, oh, you see the people who are there, and you're like, oh, yeah, this should be a comedy.
By the way, you can say that a lot of cities, like like Albuquerque and Salt Lake City, are like, it's a beautiful city. If you get rid of the tweakers, it's pretty amazing.
Salt Lake is utterly gorgeous. Salt Lake City is fantastic looking.
Yeah.
Albuquerque's cool. Yeah,
Maureen's in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
I love Albuquerque.
I mean, now if somebody has a show set in Tacoma, has there ever been another show set in Tacoma?
I don't know.
Tell everyone. Will you do me a favor? Tell everybody how. Because you told me the whole pitch for that, and it's one of the great Hollywood stories of success that is so rando. Like, it was on a Zoom, like, it was crazy, right? And then, like, the Tacoma thing, nuts.
Wait, which one? Of Tacoma?
When you pitched Tacoma, like, you had all these other pitches, and then you were like, what about a fire department? What if we put it in
yeah, so we were like Super Troopers 2 was coming out, and Kevin and I had sold something like 14 shows to everybody at like every major network,
but never made one yet, right?
never made one.
Yeah,
And
that was crazy.
and some of our like, and then we actually had made one for TBS. We made a pilot for TBS that got passed on in the most amazing way. Like they had actually, it was probably right around either before or after My Boys. There was a moment in time where everything was off TBS. They canceled all their shows.
Yeah,
and that's when we had a pilot there, and we were like, hot damn, we're getting on the air. And Kevin Riley came in, the new head of the network, came in and literally killed the 3 pilots that were in the. We hadn't even finished editing, and just came in and killed it. And it was like just an amazing.
Nothing ends a show sooner than a change in leadership.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, that show, if it does well, it's not his win, and if it does poorly, it's his loss. So there's no. It's a bad situation.
Yeah.
Did you see HBO now? HBO. Did you see Minx? Have you seen Minx?
Oh, I just saw that. My friend Jessica Lowe's on that show. Yeah,
it's a pretty funny show, even though it's extremely dong heavy. There's a lot of dong in Minx.
Oh, jeez.
What a nightmare. It's huge, fake prosthetic dong heavy. It's dong.
Why is this?
So they got picked up for season 2. They shot season 2, and before it could air, they canceled season 2 and pulled season 1 off of HBO Max.
And they're currently shooting season 3. Like literally, they were on set today and found this.
But they never aired season 2.
No, but they're shooting season 3.
Not anymore. They're not. Did they cancel it?
I saw Jessica sent out the thing from Jake saying we're going to keep shooting this, and we're hoping to keep going, and we're going to find a home for this. But
well, here's the crazy thing: is it like even like Samantha Bee? They did the same thing. Like the money's committed, so they have to pay everybody.
Right.
And with Samantha Bee, they were like, well, she said allegedly, not to me, but do you guys? They just pulled the plug. She's like, but you're going to have to pay everybody anyway, so why don't we just film it and we can see how it turns out? And they said, nah, they'll just spend the money.
They don't care.
And that show, Chad, that was on TBS. So this is like we're honestly like it's TNT, True TV, TBS, HBO Max.
Dude, Batgirl.
Oh yeah,
with Michael Keaton as Batman again.
That's right.
90
the whole thing. It's a better tax write-off. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it is like that. And I mean, I remember I was working on a show called Heist. Do you remember Heist?
No.
It was a crazy NBC show. I was just guest starring for the week. And I showed up on Wednesday, like 3 hours into the day. Everyone was like, that's a wrap. And we're like, what? And they go, yeah, we're done. We're done. And I was like, it's like 10 in the morning. And they're like, no, we're done. We're done. And that was it. That was everybody went home. And that was the end of the show. Like that after. And it was episode, I want to say like 6 or 7. Like it was like they just reached a point. They were like, nah, we're good. Thanks.
Oof. Even
My Boys, we were set to shoot, I forget, like 4 more episodes or whatever. And they were like, on one of the seasons, they were like, we're good. And we were like, well, you still have to pay us. And they go, yeah, we know. We don't care. And they just paid us for 4 episodes that we didn't shoot.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I guess. Yeah. It's a crazy business, isn't it, dude?
It is. It is a crazy business. And there's, speaking of things I don't want to say on this show, there are several, which I'll call you right afterwards.
I know. I figure we'll talk soon. Let's talk about kids, shall we? It's so funny because all of a sudden it starts to devolve into showbiz a little bit, which is kind of fun.
Here, look.
Especially with what's going on with,
You're doing it?
Okay.
Let's
talk about that.
Taco Tuesday.
Yes, let's please.
Let's talk about that. Whoever invented that thing.
It's a cock.
Seriously, they need to be hurt. Like,
look at this episode of Minx right here.
Like Christmas wasn't, Christmas isn't painful enough for parents trying to, hold the whole thing together, and the great lie that we're holding together. And now all of a sudden they go, here's another couple things you're going to have to like stay up super late to do, or set an alarm for 3 a.m.
How many Saturday and Sunday mornings do you wake up and your wife is like, did you move the elf? And you're like, no. And you're in a panic, like, oh, fuck. And one of you has to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
The kids are up.
Can I tell you, this is one place I just drew the line. I've got 2 boys, an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. They
Everybody's
ask,
looking around. Kate, you're looking around.
I'm like, hey,
We all are. We're all. If
honestly,
you can't,
if anybody
you're just
has me on
listening to-
Did you
speaker,
see how nervous everybody's got? Like we're all
If you're li-
really
if
close.
you're
if
listening
anybody
to this
has
right
this on speaker, turn it off.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, I just said to my kid, my son Neil, who's the 7-year-old, was like, why don't we do this? And I was like, because it's not real. It's just the parents. Don't tell your friends. Like I'm not doing it. I snitched. Won't tell on the other one. And he's like, okay, it'll be my secret.
That is some super Irish shit right there.
Boom.
That is super Irish fucking child.
I
rearing
told him.
right
I
there.
snitched.
Honestly,
I've
on all
never
of you.
known you to kill dreams before, Kate.
I
Really?
wanted
she does.
nothing to do with
I meant
what
my
you're
dreams.
you guys are all actually describing that it's the hell that this is, and none of you thought to just totally snitch, get yourself out of it.
I
I
can't.
can't. I couldn't
can't
do
do
that.
it. No, I can't be the one to do it.
Our kids love looking for Sammy in the morning.
It's crazy.
And today when they saw him, it's Taco Tuesday and he's in a taco shelf.
Thank you, because I'm going to steal that for today.
Yeah, do it. Because you know why? We should share these. This particular secret is something we should all share as parents. 'Cause
No,
it's
I
fucking fun.
snitched.
I know.
I
You know,
snitched.
Kate, you're real. You're the cock, Kate.
Can I
You're
tell
the
you
cock.
something?
How could
I'm
you?
the
pretty
star of
typical
Minx.
here.
Listen, let me
Did you tell
you
them? No. Did you tell them the Santa Claus doesn't exist?
No, because that's a secret I need.
Wait, so why didn't you kill that much more
'Cause
expensive?
listen, you guys
lie?
want me to keep your secret, but now my son's keeping my secret, which is the elf on the shelf isn't fucking real.
Fuck up, Kate.
Just saying.
So here's what we've been doing. We have been. So my wife was going. She would go. I don't even know if we can talk about this. She would go.
Scary. Is this the scariest episode of?
She'd wait. This is the scariest thing that's ever happened. She would wait until they were asleep, right? Which all of a sudden means you got to stay up till they're staying up later than I am, dude. I sometimes I try to put them to bed at 6:30 so I can go to
That's
bed.
a you thing. That's a you thing.
Okay. So
I texted
anyway,
him once at 8. He's like, hey, I'm turning in. Talk to you tomorrow.
She's not even exaggerating. Exactly 8. Joe Bo says, I told my son that Santa takes the bad kids and turns them into elves. That is my story and I'm sticking with it. That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty funny. I might use that.
Jamie, has my wife told you? My wife's Cuban, you guys, and they have a Cuban thing. There's this guy named El Coco, and they tell the kids when you get in bed, El Coco lives under your bed. So it's not even like if you're good, he might not be there. If you're bad, he's going to be there. It's just he's under your bed.
He's just there.
Yeah, and if you open your eyes, he will come in through your eyes and then fucking suck you down through the hole under your bed.
I saw this movie.
How has that not been made into a movie?
It's called Get
It
Out.
it was one of the Freddy Kruegers.
Actually, the Freddy Krueger
I
thing
think
is based
there
on
is
a
an El
Haitian.
Coco. I'm not even kidding. I do think
There's Coco. There's Coco for sure. It's a Disney.
That's true.
And it's a very nice movie. But
Nightmare on Elm Street is based on a Haitian thing where people would attack you in your sleep and kill you in your sleep. Got people. There was actually 4 or 5 people who died in their sleep with no reason. And that's where the Freddy Krueger's kind of based on a real event.
Just want you guys to know, Carlos El Mono Sanchez is the star of 2016's El Coco.
Really? Hold
Yeah.
on.
Okay.
My glasses are coming
It
back.
looks like something I probably would have been cast in. So let's be honest, it's probably a D movie.
Oh, that's funny.
It was probably direct to an eye. Like it was like a streaming service that had like the
We've been
exclusive
doing
on it.
this
Like
where
a voodoo original.
Yeah, exactly.
By the
Why
way,
did you red?
you said his name is Carlos El Mono.
Yeah.
Do you know what un mono is in Spanish? It means
monkey?
monkey. Yeah. Carlos.
when Mono's a monkey.
The monkey.
Carlos the monkey. You were like, she's definitely saying that wrong. No, that was really the monkey.
Okay. Wow.
All right, Jamie, go ahead. Tell us what you. Uh-oh.
Oh, by the way, they came with El Coco 2 and El Coco 3.
Oh my gosh.
I forgot the other day, and he had come downstairs, and I realized that while he went in to do his morning pee, and I ran by the door, stumbling down the stairs, slammed the door shut, and I just happened to get them positioned just as he was.
This happens to me with the Tooth Fairy, though. Even I got home late from doing the Avatar screening, and my husband was already asleep. I get in, I wake up the next morning, and my son shows me he lost a tooth in the night, like when my husband had been there. And I was like, oh, that's amazing.
Somebody dropped the ball, huh?
Donna didn't tell me. So I
My
just slide it in there.
my 8-year-old Theo lost a tooth recently, and we forgot to put money under his pillow,
Mm-hmm.
and it devastated him. Luckily, it was close to his birthday, and we said we think that it's possible that the tooth fairy might be waiting until your birthday because it's so close, and we'll probably give you extra money. So, we bought
$2,000 later.
$2,000 pillow.
$2,000 on it. It was just a stack of money under the pillow.
Yeah.
You just see like,
I was babysitting my niece once, and she lost her tooth, but didn't. I forgot to put the money in, and when she didn't find it the next morning, she went up one side of me and down the other. She's like, I don't understand why. And so I went around. I'm like, oh my gosh, Rachel, I'm so sorry. I realized I locked every window in this place. She couldn't get in. And I sprinkled powdered sugar against the screen door. So it looked like, and I threw glitter in it. So it looked like she tried to get in.
Or it looks like a stripper tried to get in. Was it a stripper trying to get in?
What the tooth fairy does in her side gigs is none of my business.
by the way, I've just found it like, you see this? You see these gift cards I've got here? I've just gone to be like under the pillow and be like, what? You really didn't? Oh, here. And I'll just find it under the pillow.
Are those up your sleeve?
They were really, that was probably my best work ever.
That was amazing.
I was like, yeah.
That was
Where are they? They're under the, okay, here they are.
Well, Jace, when he lost his, he had a death grip on the little baggie with a tooth in it, and he's holding it like this, and I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
I will
Claire's,
say,
Claire's almost came out, and Kate was leaving that day for like a 4-day business trip, and it was almost so loose, and every day I was like, don't move it. Don't move it. You have to keep that in your head for the next 4 days. And so she just walked around like this for 4 days and didn't touch it. And it stayed in her mouth because I was terrified of, I have that same panic about the elf, man. Every night I'm like, it's such a panic attack about it. It drives me crazy.
That's amazing self-restraint by your daughter to not.
She didn't pull it. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, you remember how great that was when your tooth was coming out? Like the taste.
Oh, the taste and like the feel of the little hole after.
You could push it, and it was like a door. It was like a dog door. It would
yes,
go like that.
yes.
And the blood.
Stick it out with your tongue. Yeah.
Every night when I dream about my teeth falling out, now it's not as pleasant. It's just that weird dream I have all the time.
It does lose the magic at some point.
So we were doing my wife would do the elf late at night, right? And I can't stay up that late. So she was gone this whole week. I had like 4 days with the kids. And so I used I'm always a big fan of hide in plain sight. Like I had to hide something from the kids, a Hatchimal egg. And so I put it right under the table where they always drop their food. And I always tell them to pick up their food. And it stood there for 3 days. Nobody found it. So what I do is like right as I'm putting them to bed, I make it like I'm shutting off the lights in the place, and then I move them really quick and do everything really fast, and then we read in bed for a while, but they don't go back out into that area, and I keep it super dark. And if they start to go, hey, oh no, back in your bed, get in your bed, back in your bed, and then I kind of kept the door super shut. I was listening to see if they were trying to sneak out with they have lanterns.
But even if it would be in a different place, so it would have still seemed like it moved.
Right.
So it doesn't.
But they're supposed to not. They're not supposed to come back till the morning.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know the rules because I just
They
bunked it all.
They fly back to the North Pole and report to Santa what they saw that day.
This is so deeply. This is less plausible.
Guys,
seriously,
don't tell Kate. She doesn't care.
I don't care. You're right. I don't care.
You're a terrible parent.
By the way, I do love that we're like. It sounds like we're about to talk. So, my wife and I were Elf on the Shelf, and we forgot. It's like, what are we doing here?
Oh, well, listen, that's a big deal, though, when you wake up and you realize neither of you moved the elf. And by the way, this year has been the worst for us. Like, I think we've missed it like 5 times and have to scramble because the kids are up before us. Have to scramble down and get that motherfucking elf out of there.
Yeah.
and move him. And then the other problem is like, all right, where do we hide him now? There's like 25 days where you have to put this motherfucker in the house. And it's like, all right.
And you probably feel the need to outdo yourself.
Well, you definitely look as a comedy guy. It's like I mean, look.
You have to heighten for 25 days. That sucks.
Yeah. Now what are we gonna do?
I do love
what day do you jump the shark, Steve?
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Tomorrow's the jumping the shark.
He's in the taco shop.
Here's the issue we just ran into as well. The 3-year-old touched the elf.
No.
And the 6-year-old, well now 7, lost his living shit.
That's a big
was
thing.
taken.
Oh yeah, that's because 3-year-olds aren't supposed to touch elves, right?
No children are supposed to touch the elves.
Right. Oh, I forgot. I don't care.
By the way, not only.
I just think it's terrible you don't love your children.
It's so awful.
Yeah, you're a horrible mother.
So
horrible
awful.
mother. It's shameful.
It's so Irish. She's drinking out of a water bottle, but it's vodka.
My wife.
Somebody asked if it was Zima earlier.
It's a
Did
ginger beer.
you still only have one? My wife went and got a second for the other kid.
Child.
So now second elf.
Oh, 2 elves.
Second elf. 2 elf.
You personalize elves?
Yeah.
We do. We have
I
3.
didn't. I had no say in it. It just happened, and I was like, "Are you?
have
Oh,
3
why don't you just
kids?
double my workload?" It's
too much.
I was infuriated.
Here's the thing about the multiple elves, though, is that you do get it does open it up to possibilities of other things you can do with them that you're limited by the one.
Do your children ever wake up and find their elves in full leather? Just be honest. Is that some of
yes,
what?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like a
Bondage
Balenciaga ad.
occasionally, don't worry about it.
My
50,
kids made
50
a
days
spa.
to Snickers, you got it.
They made an elf spa, and so there was a spa that had like all kinds of snacks and stuff. And so I had to eat it. I had to peel all the Hershey Kisses, eat them, and then leave all the wrappers and stuff so that it looked like the 2 elves went to the spa and ate all the stuff like Santa's cookies.
You didn't have to eat the Hershey's Kisses, but you wanted to.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I guess I could have thrown them in the trash.
Yeah. Also, I want to go to that spa in real life. Every spa I've ever gone to does not come with lots of chocolate.
Is it just me? Like this whole month, everyone's like, "Oh, it must be so much fun with the kids." What? It's a lot of responsibility. It's like a full-time job. Like the whole month. I'm going to tell you right now. Like we got a couple of we got a computer. A computer.
You know this is an audio show, Jamie. They're not.
I know. We got a big present for the girls, and
Wait,
I'm not letting Santa take the credit.
Oh, okay. Hannah got a computer, and Claire got a
bike.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm saying
bike.
These are from me. These are from us. We're not. Not from that dude. It's from us. I'm taking full credit for it.
We're not doing like a big thing, but I am taking credit for the ones I think they're going to like the most this year. Yeah.
But you're also stealing Santa's thunder, is what you're.
Yeah.
We don't even give a gift from us because I just want them to know that we're a disappointment right out of the gate.
Listen.
I think the leather hat says that right out of the chute, bro. You don't have to.
Do you allow your children? You have 3 kids, right?
I do.
Did they see the leather hat?
I watched the opening film. I was so focused on it just to know.
I was going to say, Steve, you probably then don't think I exist.
I was surprised to see it. They didn't include it in the song, but
not even like a glimpse of my face.
That's still a temp recording of that song that I just recorded on a iPhone.
And also, I've asked for photos from her numerous times and never received them.
We took professional shots to use when we were in Sayre, Pennsylvania.
Well,
our guest checked into the show before you, Kate. Please, you just stumble in here.
Well, that's every week.
Because that's why he works in this town.
Oh,
and
by the way,
get his lunch.
For those of you who aren't watching this show, I'm wearing a Dad AF shirt, and tonight Hannah goes, "What's AF mean?" And I go, I couldn't say it right, and so I just
always
said,
farting. Dad's always farting.
Dad's always. I did say awesome. That. I said Dad's always farting, and then I said Dads are fantastic, and she goes, No, you mean always farting, and I go, Yeah.
Your kids are so much. You're doing such a better job. Like I was telling a story about how Theo, my 8-year-old, told your daughter, who's a couple years older, about what a dick was. Our kids are fucking filthy. Like, have I told you this story, Jamie? Like we put on the Beavis and Butthead movie for my kids, and the opening scene is Beavis and Butthead as sperm on their faces on sperm cells swimming towards the egg.
I remember that. Yeah.
And so my older son was like, Dad, tell me about this sperm and egg. I said, well, the male has, this is how babies are made. The male has a sperm cell and the women have the egg, and the egg accepts the sperm cell, and that's how a baby is made. And he said, well, how? And I said, well, the woman accepts the man if she loves him, and it's like her garden is planted with his seed.
Hold on, I feel like this is a Bon Jovi song. It feels like, is that a Bon Jovi song you're saying the lyrics to?
This is "Be My Little Runaway." Yeah,
that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, but then he said he was like, well, but how does the sperm get to the egg? And I said, well, just just imagine that it is a garden, and it's the sperm is the seed, and the egg is the garden. And he said, so does the man put it on the woman's stomach? Now, at this point, you're all thinking
Sometimes.
of the I was thinking of.
I
Exactly.
mean, honestly, yes.
The jokes. Oh man, the jokes. Shoot, I'm just starting writing them down.
I was like, my God, why am I love that I'm having a birds and bees talk, but why is there nobody here to hear this right now? Because I want to make that. I just want to look at somebody and fucking wink at them, But then I told him, I said, okay, it's a penis and vagina thing. And he was like, oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
And
He's right.
and then
He's
said,
right, it is. It's pretty gross.
And then he said, what is the penis goes in the vagina? I said, yeah. And he said, because he calls it his beautiful mushroom. He said, I'll never put my beautiful mushroom into a girl. And I said, okay. And he said, I guess I'm not a sex kind of guy. And I was like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, this thing is accelerating big time. And then yesterday, Carlos, he goes, they're in bed.
Hold on, Brent goes just the tip. He goes just the tip.
Anyway,
that was the joke. Narcolepsy's doing a callback from like 3 shows ago.
Yeah.
I used to do a bit about having sex when you're sober, and it's really I don't know if I ever did it for like the first 20 years of my life or something. When I was like, because all of a sudden you're sober and you're like, this is weird. I'm inside you. This is crazy.
Jamie literally tried to get us all to agree with him. He's like, well, you guys know how like when you're like how sex is weird, and we're like, no.
Sex is weird. Come on, Steve. Sex is weird. You know it.
There was one time is when I was stoned. I remember I was doing it doggy style, and I looked over.
Yeah.
And there's a mirror, and I could see myself doing a doggy style, and I was so stoned that like all of a sudden like the nerve endings in like the crown were going fucking haywire. And I was like, this doesn't even feel good anymore. I'm like, what am I fucking doing? What do we do? And I started having that thing like, what are we doing in life? Like, what is this? That kind of thing. That was kind of the only time. Every other time has been fantastic.
We have some guests who come on and they're like, they don't share any stories because they're so afraid of what's going to be heard. I love Steve because he's the opposite. He's like, I'm going to tell you the craziest things you've ever heard.
Well, this is the only reason I come on. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to be sober this week. And I was like, Tuesday night, fucking cocktails. Like, I'm coming on. I
want to guess.
Dude, I get to Monday and I go, ugh, I'm not going to drink this week. And then the show happens. I go, all right, well, just Tuesday. And then I'm so pot committed for the week. I'm like, all right, whatever. We're here.
I want to guess what Steve is having.
Okay, guess. And then I'm going to switch it up in a second.
Okay. I feel like there's honey, lemon, and whiskey. I don't know what the name of that drink might be, but that's what that looks like.
That's pretty good.
That actually is a pretty good drink.
This was an old fashioned, so it's bourbon.
Okay.
The best.
And I want to finish. I'm gonna drink a bourbon instead of an old fashioned.
Oh.
What's your bourbon of choice?
I really, I like a lot of bourbons. I'm a bourbon guy, so I have a nice bourbon collection.
This is Steve not wanting to say how much he spends on a bottle of bourbon.
Yeah,
it's like, it's just impossible. I mean, there's so many. They're all the best.
I get a nice bottle of Whistle Pig, and I got the.
I've got a Basil Hayden. I got a couple of Basil Haydens here and a Whistle Pig. I'm looking over there. Can you guys see what I'm looking at?
The real question is, can you see what you're looking at?
Barely.
No, he can't see anything. He can't see
Barely.
anything. You know what? Also, Steve, your kids. We're going to. Well, Jason just went to one today. Mine is Thursday, but they're called Christmas concerts where our children sing at school. Are you doing that?
This year, it seems we're not. I've done them in the past, and I really like them.
Not if
pretty
Argentina's
fun.
playing.
Kate, you're goddamn right.
Thank
you know,
you.
I did the thing the other day. I had the earpiece in. I was at my younger son's soccer game, and his game had just ended, and the coach and Argentina was playing Australia, so I wasn't too worried about it. But like, the coach was going through the oh, okay, everybody, you had a good game. Let me go through, and was like giving the notes, and Argentina scored, and I screamed. Now it's not as bad as like if you're at a wedding or a funeral or just church on Sunday, but like, you know, I still did it while the guy was delivering a message to the children. Luckily, he was a soccer fan, and I had it on my phone. All the kids gathered around. It was a Lionel Messi goal, and we watched the thing. Let's talk about sex.
And how? Oh, that was another Bon Jovi song, right? Let's talk about sex. He was
Let's
great.
talk about that's not
He's
right.
done
Said
it a lot
Fred.
like
Let's talk
TLC,
about
but
sex.
for Salt and
George
Pepper, I
Michael
mean.
Might be George Michael.
Let's
I was
talk
talking
about
about
sex,
let's talk about-
baby.
Yeah, I was talking about Salt and Pepper.
Steve, who's your favorite band of all time then? Actually, if you want to talk about sex, what's your sex music? Because here's what happened the other day. I randomly on my iPod Shuffle. It's not even an iPod. It's my phone Shuffle, whatever it is. Roxy Music came up. Avalon. Oh, and in college, like if you could get a girl back to your apartment and then put Avalon on, it's over. Brian Ferry. More than this comes on.
Oh yeah,
there ain't no more than that.
Yeah.
Avalon was good. I remember like Terrence, the Hard Line, according to Terrence Trent D'Arby. Do you remember that album?
Sign your name across my heart.
Woo!
Want you to be my baby.
But that's like that was like a love making album. Like that's like when your eyes are this close to each other and open and like, you know, you're like really focused.
Now I'm like, do I have to be awake?
Chris TWC, Tennessee Wraith Chasers. Jamie, an idea that just came to me. Film bits of you interviewing the elf in the creepiest, obscure places in your house, but with subtle clues. Then they go to try to find them live with flashlights. You know, it's so funny you say that, Chris, because I don't know about you guys, but I have such great intentions during the day of what I'm going to do at night of like, I'm going to build this scene. Wait do you see this? I'm going to construct. And then all of a sudden I'm like struggling to stay awake to get to bed. And it's just like, stick them in the tree. They're in the tree, moving on.
We do a lot of where we like do what family activities that they'll bring for us to do. Like they bring all the stuff to make cupcakes. So then we're going to do a cupcake day as a family, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Jamie, I feel like your sex, and I could be wrong, but I feel like your go-to sex song now is just like the Ken Burns Civil War music.
Yeah.
Taylor's a great lover. You can tell.
I'm just saying, I feel like Ken Burns really splits that switch for him. I'm just saying.
What's your especially if I'm in a solo performance, like a one-man show, I will really put the effort in. I'll really go full bore to make sure that the person I'm with is having a wonderful time.
I know Jason's sex song. Judas Priest, you got another thing coming.
You got it. Oh, yeah. Breaking the law. Breaking the law.
I would have taken that or the theme song from Josie and the Pussycats, either one.
I think Black Velvet.
That's one of my wife's karaoke songs, by the way.
I bet. Because she
Black Velvet.
My wife's karaoke songs are, she does Lita Ford, Kiss Me Deadly.
It's so rando, and that's awesome.
She does Great White, Once Bitten, Twice Shy.
She's a metalhead, huh?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she does an Iron Maiden song, too. She might do Run for the Hills.
All right, Steve, 1 minute, go. How many of your wife's... Oh, sorry, Jamie.
What happened?
She'll do War Pigs.
No, not War Pigs. She's not Black Sabbath. She's not Black Sabbath. I think she has 3 songs. It's Once Bitten, Twice Shy, Kiss Me Deadly, and I think it's Run for the Hills. Oh no, Sister Christian.
Wow. That's a tough one. My wife's number one is You're So Vain, Carly Simon.
You know what
And then
I
I do the Mick Jagger backup singer.
fuck, so there you go. Okay. Do you know, I didn't know that Mick Jagger was a part of that song. And the Rolling Stones, to answer your question from a few questions ago, the Rolling Stones are my favorite band of all time. And I didn't realize that Mick Jagger was sang backup on that song. And it's really an amazing thing. It's kind of like a piece of bacon with a nice strip of fat on the side. Like, you know, like, cause the first few choruses, you don't even hear him. No. And then the third chorus, you hear him a little bit. You hear like a, "You're so vain." And then you're like, okay, that was Mick. And you're like, okay, I guess that's all I'm getting. And then by the end of the song, it's just, he's like, "I bet you hear the song is about you, about you." Do you guys all know about Mick Jagger and You're So Vain?
I'm trying to figure out what bacon you know that doesn't have fat on the end, honestly. Don't they all have fat on the end?
There are some leaner
The
bacons.
nice thick piece of fat. Yeah.
There's some leaner bacons out there.
Okay.
Like I think they have like specifically like lean bacon that are like non-strip O fat.
Okay,
They even just sell just sad bacon.
They should call it. It's right next to the unsalted butter.
I went to see the Rolling Stones farewell tour in 1981.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It was a good one. Actually, it was their farewell tour, and it was 81. And I remember I was in high school, and I was like, "We got to go. They're never going to play again." And cut to 100 years later.
And the funny thing is about that, I remember that like Mick Jagger was like 41. Oh. And they were like, "Can he still sing? Does he still have anything left in the tank?" And I'm like, Jesus fuck. Like, and back then it's like, oh, that's a real question. Like, I was like 14 at the time. Like, I wonder if he does.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, you look at pictures of him at age 41, he's still hot. He was not as hot as he was when he was 23, but it's like the discrimination against people who are 40 years old is I think a travesty.
Can we talk about that for 1 second about like parent, like even today I had a conversation with my daughter where I would do this with her all the time. I go, look, I'm not trying to be bossy or anything. I'm trying to help you. I was you. I made every mistake in the book. I've been on earth a long time. Why won't you listen to what I'm trying to help you by telling you these things that are going to happen to you. And they just won't, it's crazy to me. It's like they just don't respect I don't know what it is. Why don't they listen to us?
I think it's a mutual thing though. I was thinking about it today. Like there was a statistic. I saw these fucking dopey, not dope, like so cool. The like right before the World Cup coverage started there was Good Morning LA on Fox. And like three ladies were talking about like the statistic, like calling in sick.
Ugh, ladies.
There were these three ladies, and I just wanted to turn the motherfucking TV off right there. No, I love news ladies.
Why?
It's like,
you don't have to whisper that. You could let your people in your house know that, Steve. Let your freak flag fly, man.
Steve, what is it like? Because you're in Super Troopers and you're Broken Lizard, you're uncancelable. Because that's your brand of humor.
No, that's not though. It's not though. You were saying like shit emojis. I had made a living off those. I've never had to put a shit emoji on. I actually don't think I've ever made a shit joke in any of the things we've done. But that's like,
I've got some for you.
Oh, you do? Wait, you do have
called
some?
My Tuesday at a Costco. I don't know what to tell you. That is my brand.
Oh wait. Oh, you've got some for me.
Yeah, I've got some for you.
I know you're not dirty. You're not dirty.
By the way, Heffernan is the shit guy. But like I'm always talking him out of shit jokes, and he's always talking me out of sex jokes. Mm. And we've had the conversation, and I'll put it to you guys. Like he's like, "That's crass," and I'm like, "What do you mean that's crass? It's a clever sex joke." And he's like, "It's crass." I'm like, "You just pitched me a shit joke like 5 minutes ago, and I didn't bother you about it, even though I think it's disgusting." And he's like, "That's bodily function." I'm like, "Okay, yes, Kate."
I don't mean to interrupt you. I respect what you're saying, except for that you're wrong, because everybody in the world shits. Everybody in the world shits, but not everybody in the world gets to have sex. So I'm just saying. Okay. More relatable. We're the voice of the people.
So then let me ask you a question. Yeah. I shouldn't ask you, Kate. I'll ask the men this question. I feel like I can ask you this question because we're friends. I'll ask you the question that I asked him. I said, which do you think is grosser, cum or shit? And he said, cum. And I said, would you rather eat someone's cum or eat someone's shit? I said, because I would rather eat someone's cum. And he said, I would rather eat someone's shit. And I said, bull fucking shit.
Cool. Yeah, there's no way.
Nonsense.
No.
This podcast has it's all falling apart.
Oh, this is parents and kids, right? What I meant when I said Kevin was I asked my kids that. Do you know the difference between cum and shit? Listen, sorry guys, I'm drinking bourbon. It's just
This is honestly might be the
I'm
one
with
episode.
you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. That's ridiculous between the two of those. Not even a question. Of course.
There's also anyway, and I'm about to start airing my dirty laundry with Heffernan. Let me tell you something about Heffernan. Okay. We actually had. It was funny because Hassie. When
are you gonna call us are you gonna call me in 3 hours and go, listen, man, you can't put that up.
You gotta kill the Heffernan stuff and the Reno 911 stuff.
Yeah.
Because by the way, this goes out live. We're live.
It is a little live. Yeah.
It's live.
But also, how many people are gonna watch? Thomas Lennon's not watching it. We're fine.
Oh, Lennon's not watching. I mean, someone will show it to him, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
He got his money, please.
He actually he went up to he ran into Jay Chandrasekhar, one of my Broken Lizard friends, at the Cat and Fiddle in Hollywood many years ago, and said, "I know that." He said, "I want you to know, I've watched Super Troopers so many times, and I think you guys made a perfect movie. And I know that there's this conception that we ripped off your idea for Reno 911, but I promise you we did not." And I completely believe it. Like I said, it's like I don't think anything nefarious happened. I do.
Yeah.
Like I amended my thing saying, I think that somebody might have one of the executives like around the whole thing might have said like, just thrown it out there and not even given credit. Because I actually think if those guys heard like, oh, you had a thing that took place in Reno, that they would have rejected it. I don't know.
They're great writers. They're fantastic comedian/writers.
Yeah, and I like everything I've seen them do.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think they got enough night at the museum money. They're going to be just fine. Everyone's going to be just fine. You have a show that's on for a few years. It's like Lucy Kudrow getting fired from Frasier. Horrible story. Right up until she books Friends, and they're like, oh yeah, she's going to be just fine.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
She was the original Roz on Frasier, and she got fired.
Oh,
She
I
got
didn't
fired.
know that.
I did not know that.
Lisa Kudrow.
also, I saw this earlier in the chat, but I thought You're So Vain was about Warren Beatty, but somebody
It
said
is
it was
about
about John
Warren
Denver.
Definitely not John Denver.
Or
No, it's
sorry,
about Warren
James
Beatty.
Taylor. Song's
James
about
Taylor.
James
John Denver is
John,
like
Don, wow.
She was married to James Taylor.
And
Carly
they said it
Simon.
was about him, but I thought it was about Warren Beatty.
No, it's about Warren Beatty, I think.
But then there was also like a rumor that it was about Mick Jagger too, but that's obvious bullshit because he's in the song.
He's in the song.
Yeah. That's my wife's go-to karaoke song. And then she'll do some Heart. I think she does Alone.
Does she sing it to you?
To me?
She's like,
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is my
No,
karaoke song ever since I married Jamie Kaler. No reason, but
Our first
Jamie, I'd like
date-
to direct this directly to you.
Pretty close. Our first date, we were having sushi at Bond Street Sushi in New York. And she started talking about karaoke. She's like, I love karaoke or whatever. I go, well, let's go rent a place. So we went to St. Mark's and we just rented a private room, just her and I. Our first date. And we stayed in the private room. And actually, Michael Bunin from My Boy, he was there with me in New York hanging with us. And he came down, and then one friend of hers. And we just stayed in this one room singing. But here's what she does. She loaded up the machine like I was there just to see her in concert. There was no like, hey, what are you going to sing? She was like, all right, this is I'm going to do this one. Then I'm going to do this one. Then I'm going to do this. She had a set list of songs. And after like 4 or 5 songs, we were like, dude, you got to let somebody else sing. What are you doing? It's not a concert. But that's how she get. All of a sudden, even with the girls, like the little kids, she's like, move away from mama. Mama's.
And was that the night the
Mama's in a
magic clicked for you?
karaoke trance right now. Everybody back away.
Well, yeah. Well, I want to hear more about this night. Did you guys? Let's ask the obvious question. Did you guys do it? Did you do it that night?
Did you plant anything in her garden?
We're waiting.
I mean, please.
Did you
come
eat
on.
shit or cum? We're
Look,
trying
you
to
know,
figure this out.
Okay.
Like, how many songs did you were set? Did
No,
you
if
just
I know
have
it's
sex with her
okay.
to end it?
I was staying in the Soho Grand, by the way. I was between seasons of My Boys, and the other dude and I said, hey, let's just go stay in New York for 3 weeks. And so we went and checked into the Soho Grand.
Yeah,
where they give you the little fish bowl? I had a fish in my room for like it was.
I was never rich and on a TV show, Kaler. I don't know.
I was staying at the Soho Grand for like 3 weeks when we met. and then we dated for like those 2 weeks. But yeah, I mean, she came back. I showed her the Soho Grand. It's pretty good place to show somebody. Yeah, I mean, we you don't want to get into this competition, Steve, because we'll talk about some things let's just talk about.
I do want to talk about back. I was thinking about when we were talking about sex music, Roxy Music, and Terence Trent D'Arby. It has occurred to me though. I feel like if we're getting back to like marriage and things like that, I feel like the longer you're married, the less you listen to sex music. Is that possible?
I will tell you, if there's music playing, it better be the shortest song in the world, because I'm trying to sleep.
Oh,
okay. No, I'm trying to actually just, if I don't have to be awake, even better. I took my gummy. I wasn't planning for this. Can you hurry this up?
Jesus.
Sounds delightful.
Yeah, that sounds really romantic and fun. But I feel like that's. No, I'm a big music. I like music, but I like music all the time. Like I have music on all the time in the house.
Do you put on like Flogging Molly and shit like that, or like?
No.
What's your favorite band?
Judas Priest.
I go through phases. Lately, I've been New Order and Joy Division and Depeche Mode and that kind of vein. But I'm always big, like for me, The Clash and Elvis Costello. That was kind of my go-to. The Pretenders.
I mean, you grew up in grade school on like Glenn Miller Band, but that never really.
I love the Glenn Miller Band, and then Sinatra. I had the big falling out with him, and and I was a big Sinatra fan. And then Bill Haley in the comments changed everything.
Yeah.
But I still, dude, I still listen to like Jack FM and listen to classic rock. Like, yeah, I'm a classic. You know, it's funny. We went the other night. We went to somebody's birthday party, and the other parents, and it was funny because there was a DJ and people were dancing, and so I kept I was like, Depeche Mode, and our wedding song is The Cure. It's Just Like Heaven, and but people, they're a little bit younger. And so it was all 90s. There's nothing funnier than sitting in a party with a bunch of white dudes singing like 90s rap.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
Like I'm looking at this guy who just 2 seconds earlier we were talking about playing golf at Lakeside, and he's like, oh yeah, man, I got up there in 2, and then I hit this crazy putt, and then the music says like, more dudes, I'm like, I go, wow, dude. But I missed that window because I kind of came up through rock and roll and then new wave, I guess, and stuff.
But so wait, who's your favorite band?
Say what?
Who's your favorite band of all time?
I can tell you my favorite song. Here's my funeral song. I'll tell you that. Because I don't know if I never have a favorite band, but my funeral song is This Must Be the Place, Naive Melody by the Talking Heads.
And for those of you playing bingo with us tonight, Jamie has referenced his own death. Go ahead and mark that off the card.
That's every card. That's the center square. That's given away for free.
That's the free one.
Do you have a funeral song, Steve? That and also Wild Horses is one of my funeral songs. I have a whole funeral. I have a funeral playlist.
Oh, fantastic.
That's pretty good though, but that's also an Irish thing. Like you want your funeral to be a fucking nice wild adventure. Don't you?
It better be a party. Yeah, I'm pretty soon. I'm getting close to making a video that's going to be played there where I'm going to go. Come on. Yeah, I had a good run. I had a great run. You know what's funny? We were talking the other day. Like every parent wants their kids to have better lives than them, and I'm always like, well, you cannot maintain that every generation. Eventually, somebody has to reset the bar. And it might happen with you as well because you've had a pretty good run, brother. So, I mean, for your kids to have the same kind of crazy success, great marriage, beautiful wife, is that, at some point you might have to talk to your sons and go, look, you're not going to live up to Dad. Dad crushed it. I don't know what to tell you. Dad crushed it. And, you're left to your own devices at this point.
Well, you're making me sad for my kids. I think.
Well, listen, it's not sad. They can still have, lives that are enjoyable.
I'll tell you what.
Are they going to have a life like you? Do you think it's going to fall into place that perfectly?
I think It's going to be easier for you. You weren't shooting shows when you were 11.
No, and the truth is,
And he was hot tubbing with redheads early on.
yeah, he's got it fucking good. He's got it good.
He's hot tubbing with redheads. That's
He's
funny.
got it good.
That's a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing about growing up in the business. Like, with you, I only did it with you, but other people have reached out about my kids, and usually I'm like, they're offer only. They're not going to go through the same kind of, I just saw Steven Spielberg's daughter signed to direct her first big feature, and I go, it must have been tough for her to get into the business. It must have been pretty hard for her to break in. And she might be super, like Kate Hudson's super talented, even though, I'm sure it wasn't that hard to get into the biz. But I just feel like with kids, it's like, I don't know if it's the best thing to be in the business full time at that age. No
way. I wouldn't let my kids audition. I just said, hey, will you send a video of Anna going, all right, Dick. And she did it and nailed it.
And you were directing the episode, and I did.
Theo was in the scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, it really made me feel better that your son was in, because part of me was like, ugh. But listen, she has a credit. She's SAG eligible. She has a Jackie Coogan account. She made some good money, and it was super fun.
She made
and I have no
$2,000.
Oh my gosh, she made the same as when your son lost his tooth for his birthday. That's amazing.
That's my figure. I pay people $2,000.
I don't know, but dude, so when people I grew up with see what I did and came out here, it's always pretty cool to come from where I came from to do this. But I think when your kids are in this business their whole lives and they're so LA centric, I do think that this business is a little crazy. It can be I
just let them know it's my job. I mean, fuck. I waited when I was a waiter. I waited on that fucking kid Justin Henry, who was the son in Kramer versus Kramer.
Legends of the Fall. He's the guy, isn't he? Isn't that?
No, that's
Henry Thomas.
That's Henry Thomas, and he's a good guy. And
which one's Justin Henry?
Greatest audition I've ever seen.
What's that?
Have you guys seen Henry Thomas's audition for E.T.?
Yes.
Oh, is that not the most profound piece of acting you've ever seen for a screen test?
Yes.
Yes. But for a kid that age, that's not normal. That cannot be normal. Something's very odd.
But you know what though? But he's turned out wonderfully. He's okay. This kid Justin Henry, he came in like I was a waiter. I was probably like 24. And he came in, I think he was in high school at this point, and he said, I mean, he was in Kramer versus Kramer, great movie, Oscar nominated, but he was the fucking kid, and he was 5. He came in high school and was like, do you know who I am? I'm Justin Henry. I was in Kramer versus Kramer. He said those words to me. That's a piece of shit. Like, that's what we're not going to do around here. And so, like,
you played the character that basically made your parents get divorced. So
you were the asshole then. And
I've done a lot of kid shows. I was Zendaya's teacher and Bella Thorne's teacher on Shake It Up. By the way, amazing. Both of them amazing. But I did Saved by the Bell, the new class. And those kids were like hell. They were like the same kind of, do you know what? I'm going to be in my trailer. You come get me when you're ready. Like, are you 10 years old? What's happening?
Yeah.
It's a weird thing.
But I know some grown-ups like that too.
I know far too many grown-ups. And Mulligan's one of them right there.
Yeah.
It's in my rider that we rap.
Podcast devolved. I love when Lemme comes on. It just turns into a random chit-chat fest.
No, I think about, and by the way, we have some loose ends out there. But in terms of talking about our kids, like I grew up in New York City, and we didn't have much money. And outside my window was a brick wall. And I've told you this, Kaler, like we lived on the second floor, and it's like my bedroom looked out over an alleyway, and it was like the only time there was natural light in my room was at noon when the sunlight came directly down.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise,
you were never there. You were at school. That would say you never saw light.
I never saw light in my bedroom. But now it's like, like seeing my kids growing up in a better situation than I grew up in is like very fulfilling. And I think that they have more opportunities than I.
Do they act spoiled?
No, I'm really struggling. I'm really focusing on teaching them the value of money. Like they have to earn money in the house. So they do jobs.
Yeah.
and they have a job chart with bills attached to it. Take out, go, and it's voluntary. So it's like if you take out all the garbage in this house from every single garbage can, you can earn this $1.
Yeah. If you count all of Daddy's bourbon and then alphabetize it, you can have this $2,000.
Yeah, if you can pour Daddy a Blanton's bourbon, which is a $160 bottle and very important, and you don't spill a drop, not only will I not hit you, but you can have $1.
Well, so we do the same, right? Like we do stuff like that as well, and we try to. But here's the problem:
you hit your children.
I was gonna say.
Here's the problem with it: is that they don't need the money. They don't need it because everything they've ever wanted has been bought for them.
Steve, if it makes you feel any better, if you lived in New York, you would still only be able to afford an apartment that looks out onto an alley where there's only sunlight 1 hour a day. That's how expensive New York is now.
No, you're totally right. The thing that I think about though is like where I do feel a little bit of guilt is that like we have a nice house out in the valley in a cul-de-sac. It's very quiet here, and I wonder if they're actually missing out. Like, you know, not that I need them to do what I do for a living, or that I want them to have the fucking fucked up, crazy childhood that I had and see the things that I saw at a young age. But like, you know, there are times where like even a simple thing, like I grew up on East 86th Street. Every parade in New York City ended on my street. So like, and went down to Gracie Mansion. It would come up Fifth Avenue and then turn down and go down Gracie Mansion. So even like St. Patrick's Day, like I remember I would wake up and I'd hear fucking parade music going. I'd be like, oh, and I'd go out and like, I'd step out at like age 8 and fucking toothless Irish woman would be like, kiss me, I'm Irish. And like fucking cops are drunk and firefighters are drunk and Irish people are fucking wasted. And then the day's over and there's shit and garbage everywhere. People are wasted and vomiting and everything like that. And I'm like, you know, that's a little like the amount of times I was mugged when I was a kid in the 80s in New York, but like the museums and the concerts and the sports and like the art and Shakespeare in the Park. That's where I first saw acting, you know, Shakespeare in the Park.
Can't raise kids in the city. But if they want to see like crazy homeless, toothless people, they're more than welcome to come by my house because we're.
Oh, we got New York beat. We've got New York City beat. LA. Oh no, LA.
Yeah, they're all over the place. Of like,
and getting worse.
Yeah, it's getting worse. So it's fantastic. Hey, is this the right time that we should tell Steve that this is a clean show and we don't drop F-bombs on it? Is this the shit we should do it now?
I don't think we should. Honestly,
you write that in the email?
I prefer the show this way.
Dude, by the way, this is one of the longest podcasts we've ever done. We normally are long gone by now, but it's been we covered a lot of territory. There's a lot of territory.
We really did.
I really did appreciate the covert elf talk.
Yeah.
And obviously Steve's going to be canceled by morning, my guess.
My wife just texted me. She said, you're being really loud and the kids can hear you.
She did not. Did she? You have a giant house, dude. Are the kids like in the same room with you?
Why is your intercom on?
Even with the door closed, you're a bit loud. Cuidado.
Cuidado. Everybody knows cuidado means careful.
Cuidado.
Cuidado.
I thought it meant,
Cuidado. El Coco is watching.
By the way, El Coco could come from adults too. If you keep your eyes open when you go to bed, El Coco will fucking fuck you up.
I can't go to bed with that on my head.
That's the whiskey talking. That's the whiskey.
By the way, Jason the Monkey Montoya fucking he'll come get you too.
By the way, what Jason does after we do this, before he puts it up on iTunes so that we can keep our PG-13 rating or whatever, he goes through the whole podcast and bleeps every F-bomb you said.
Well, I don't just bleep it. I replace it with dolphin calls.
He does. He goes, which is going to be about 1,000 of them.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I forgot. Sorry, guys.
Dude, it's great that you came on and chatted so much, but it's sad that this is here's the other thing as parents, sometimes I invite people on this show just to catch up with them because I never see you. The only people I see are the parents of my daughter's friends.
Yeah.
We keep trying to hang out.
I know.
You know, honestly, the next 2 weeks, I'm good.
I was at a party a block away. You didn't come down.
I know, but I feel like I was really fucked up when you sent me that text.
He was looking at himself in the mirror.
Let's
What
continue
is
this
happening?
off. Let's continue this off camera. let's save what's left of Steve Lemmy's career tonight. Dude, thank you so much for coming on the show. I
Yeah, what a
mean,
blast.
honestly, this is such great, honest parent talk, because sometimes people come on and they go, "No, parenting's been so great and everything's just fine and everybody's great," and we're always like, "You're lying. It's super painful. It's rewarding in little pieces, but for the most part, it's it's pretty painful." So, that's that. Jason, you want to say anything to anybody before we wrap this thing?
Yep, brand new. For those of you who are coming over from SiriusXM, thank you guys for coming on over. New episodes pop up on iTunes and wherever you get your podcasts every Thursday and Monday. And you can always catch us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific.
That was well said, sir.
I know.
Thanks from Kate Mulligan, Jason Gowin, Jamie Kaler, and of course our
What is this?
This is you.
Steve's trying to show us something.
This is you. Episode 412.
Oh, that's where I was standing. That's where I was standing right there.
Oh.
This is you.
By the way,
Polanski.
we haven't even plugged the next Broken Lizard film. Can we say is coming?
Quasi. Yeah.
Quasi.
420.
You are playing the lead character, Quasimoto. It's a retelling in the way only the Broken Lizard gentleman can tell it. Quasimoto is coming. I actually saw it. It's ridiculously funny and really, really sweet. I actually really liked it.
Okay.
And when will Tacoma FD be out? Do we know?
I believe it's going to be third quarter. We got moved. We were supposed to be February. Now we're July.
Oh, okay.
But the good news is we're going to be on. So even though
unlike other shows that have been shot, that apparently that's the new craze. They shoot shows and then just scrap them.
Just that conglomerate of networks, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking because it's like we don't really know what we're going to do. Jessica Lowe has done a number of guest stars on Tacoma. She's the best. So when I read that Mink stuff, I was bummed for her. And
you guys know Jessica Lowe because she has a voice sort of like this, almost exactly like this.
I didn't know who that was. She's amazing. She's ridiculously funny.
Yeah, she plays like Barbie or something. But Bambi.
I liked Minx very much.
Anyway,
that's it. Let's wrap this beast. Thank you to everybody for listening. Thanks for Steve Levy for coming out. And dude, that was a great podcast. That was so much fun.
It was awesome.
All right, thank you guys. We'll see you here next week on the Parents Lounge.
Good night, everybody.